What's going on, Lady Elegance Pritchard? Jay Dizzle, what's going on? What's going on, Nikki Carter? Glad to see you in the house tonight.
It's about that time, baby, baby. Oh, yeah. Here we go. This Claire show is on. It's on. Running to your friends. Come on. So we love the show tonight. No bag is tight. Music Claire is on. Get it so you feel the soul in your heart. And you let us sit the show so we can talk. Get the answers to your questions because we see that truth. So now yourself, lost your health. Take it on the benefit. You believe in Jesus knows your will. Keep the moving spirit flowing because we're here to provide someone to lean on when you fall against the age and 9 and it's on.
Once again, it's on. You're listening to the only morning show in the evening time at night. That's when I come on. Because all the rest of the time I be at the JOB trying to make things happen in the real world. First, I want to thank all of you all who continue to send your mailbag questions, comments, all them other things that y'all be sending me, even the hate mail from the haters. Keep sending them. Keep sending the information. We're going to talk about a few things that y'all want to talk about and a few things I want to talk about. And really, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm so tired. Real talk, man. I be working out here like I am on the proverbial farm. I'm going to say farm today. I can't say what I was going to say. So, you know, you got to be politically correct in everything you say. First, let me do this. Let me see who is the first one popping up on the show tonight. And it was who? Gwendolyn Lady Elegance Pritchard. What's going on, lady? Down there in Huntsville, Alabama, where it's only one other state known to have as many negative type of groups in it. I'm trying my best to stay politically correct. Jay Dizzle, what's going on, Jay Dizzle? Glad to see you in the house tonight. Nikki Carter, not the arch nemesis herself, is in the house and got a few pleasantries. Leah Nicole, what's going on? Glad to see you on the show tonight. Oh, yeah, there go my mama. Hey, mama. Y'all know I be having to keep an eye on mama because mama be out there in them streets. And I be trying. Yeah, sometimes I be like, where's my mama? And she be out in the street. Mama for the streets? What? You got to be asking them questions. What you doing out there? Yeah, that right there. Y'all don't know, man. Sometimes life be killing you. But I'm going to tell you, you gotta kind of be thankful though. Okay? I'm just keeping it a stack with y'all. See, sometimes you be tired, like I am tonight. Tired. Y'all remember the movie? What was that movie where the guy was The Green Mile? He's some dog tired, boss. Dog tired. That's how I be sometimes. But then I get that burst of energy. And I say, let's go. Let's go get it. That's what I do. Oh, Cassandra, Key, what's going on? Notice Cassandra got a little flower background picture for her stuff. I don't know what that's all about. Maybe she's trying to bring a ray of sunshine to y'all. Detective Pamela Black, what's going on, girl? Glad to see you tonight on the show. Don't miss a moment of the show tonight. Listen, people, I'm just going to tell y'all be tired sometimes. Oh, Sandra said, yes, a sunflower, my favorite. Yeah, maybe some sunflower seeds. What you like about What makes the sunflower your favorite? I know y'all like to snack on them seeds in them or whatever. But anyway, let me tell y'all something. Sometimes, like when I be rolling out in the morning, and it's funny because me and Jay Dizzle be chit-chatting in the morning, you know, when we be on our way to those proverbial plantations, if you will. And it's funny because you ever notice that misery love company? You call somebody, and when they on their work, and we talking about like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. We ain't talking about no late getters, because some of y'all go to work, the sun be out. And let me say, as a matter of principle, I'm not hating, but if you go to work and the sun is out, you should be thankful. Because there are a few of us that when we are on our way to work, there is no sun out, you see stars. You don't even know if you're working the third shift or the first shift. You don't even know what kind of shift you're working. I'm just saying. But anyway, me and Jay Dizzle be chit-chatting. And it's something about, now a few times he have called or I've called, and you don't hear that car running in the background. You start to get a little angry with your homie, and that's hate. It ain't nothing but hate when you don't hear that car running in the back. Uh-oh, Big Rod, what's going on, Big Rod? Glad to see you on the show tonight. Because Andre said sunflowers represent a long life and lasting happiness. What fortune cookie did you get that out of? I'm going to tell you what sunflowers represent to me. Snacks. That's what they represent. Let's keep it a stack. Nikki Carter said it'd be pitch black. Oh, Nikki Carter, you one of the ones to be rolling in the mornings too? Ty Matthews, what's going on? Glad to see you on the show. Anyway, I'm just, and Jay Dizzle can testify to this. If you mess around and you call your homie, because, and I don't want y'all to act like this is just me and Jay Dizzle, okay? Because I'm going to be honest with you. When I be driving in the morning, it be a lot of folks having conversations when they, you know, like you pass somebody or they pass you. It just be a lot of people having conversations. So it's not me and Jay Dizzle, the only two people on the planet talking at 5 in the morning. So what I'm saying is, when you call your homie and you don't hear the car running or the sound of the air conditioner or a heater going in the car, you know, it make a certain sound when you in your car, you got all these things going. It make you feel some kind of way. You start asking stupid questions like, where you at? You on the road? Now, if they don't have it on and they got one of them super quiet cars, you be waiting for the confirmation. Yeah, man, I'm on my way to the plantation. Ah, okay. You be just trying to get it squared away. But if they be like, I remember sometime I called Dizzle and I'd be like, hey man, what you doing? And this is how you know when somebody is not going to work. They be whispering to you. Hey, yeah, man, I ain't got to go to work today. I forgot to tell you. And you ever seen somebody be apologetic because they ain't got to go to work and they forgot to tell you, and you done called them at the normal speakeasy time, if you will. That's the kind of foolishness be going on. Not with me. That's what Jay Dizzle do. See, because if you call me, I'm up anyway. So even if I ain't got to go to work, I'm probably doing some work. So I be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Even if I ain't got to go to work, he'll call, hey man, yo man, what you got going on? I'd be like, man, I'm just sitting up. I ain't got to go to work, but I'm up. I try to make you feel better about your journey, even if I ain't got to go on the same journey with you. That's teamwork right there. But not Johnny. That dude will start whispering on you. Look, Big Rod said, don't tell the secret. Big Rod, I gotta let the people know, because sometimes people take they hate or disruption of sleep too far. If we got a normal process, if I normally talk to you most mornings on the way to work, and you forget to tell me that you ain't got to work, it's not on me. If you have no right to be in your feelings, you should have put the bat signal up in there and said it was all good. I don't know. I'm just telling y'all because look here. And it's crazy. I don't even know why I feel like talking about this tonight, but and then you get to work. And normally when I get to work, it's probably nobody there, but maybe the custodian who happens to open up the building. Real good guy, right? Nice as can be. And sometimes, look, sometimes I get there earlier because I got a lot of work to do. And he even get mad. He be like, look, you messing up. He be like, you messing up my ritual. Because, you know, we got about 8 or 9 buildings on the campus. And so he got this little thing he likes to do. He'll go from one building to the next building to the next building. But if he see my car come on campus, he'll like switch buildings because he'll try to come and just open up the building. Now I'm cool with sitting out there for a few minutes waiting on him. I even tell him, hey, yo, man, you ain't got to switch up for me. But he does. And I'm very, very thankful of it. And then I go inside and I get to work. But all this be happening before the sun come up. And if it's one of my little walking times, you know, because when it ain't too cold, when it's real cold, you try to wait. But when it's weather like this, you might go ahead and get your 3.5, 4 miles in early in the morning. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just letting y'all know for the haters out there, stop. Hold on. Big Rodney gave a new signal. Code 9. I'm home today. That's what it is. Jay Dizzle. So you just heard Big Rod say, send the code 9. If you send a 9 in my phone, then I know that means tomorrow, don't call because you're going to probably be asleep. How about that? But anyway, yeah, people, I've been working so much lately that, you know, I don't know if you all, how can I say this? Because I don't want to wind up in the president's office tomorrow talking about why you complaining about your workload on social media. All right. But let's say this. So I've been working so much lately, it seemed like when I go to work and I get there, I'm working all day, putting out problems or whatever, not complaining, people. All right, because they come with the territory. And then I get home and you try to take your a power break in between there. And then I get back on the laptop and I got to be approving stuff, doing whatever. And you just find yourself becoming intertwined in your work product over and over again. So I'm just telling y'all, if anybody else is in that situation in your life right now, you're not on an island by yourself. Keep hope alive, power to the people. This too shall pass, if you will. But anyway, look, we got a couple things we're going to talk about tonight. And one in particular, and I'm going to tell you, this one kind of, you all probably saw the header, if you will. And it was talking about the Supreme Court. And some of y'all are probably saying, well, why do we care about whatever the Supreme Court got going on? Blase, blase, blase. First of all, let me say this. And Jay Dizzle always talks about this from the political spectrum, that you should be paying attention to your local government, who is at the local level, because they're controlling a lot of what reaches you directly from one point to the next. But there are some times when you need to be paying attention to what your government is doing as well. And the Supreme Court on Monday, and we're going to talk about this for a minute, and we got a couple other things we're going to chit-chat about. But the Supreme Court on Monday decided that a Black Lives Matter activist could be sued because a cop got hurt during a protest that he organized, and the NAACP is calling unconstitutional shenanigans on the decision. The storied organization believes that the ruling invites harassment and silencing of today's civil rights activists and leaders and violates their First Amendment rights. According to the Association Press, the Supreme Court upheld a lower court's ruling which allowed a lawsuit to go forward against Black Lives Matter organizer DeRay McKeeson, who led a protest in Louisiana in 2016 over the police killing of Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge, during which a police officer was hit by a rock-like object by an unidentified protester. The lower court's ruling effectively eliminated the right to organize a mass protest in the state of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas. The court acknowledged in its ruling that the case against McKeeson is fraught with implications for First Amendment rights, and Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote in a brief opinion that the court's denial today expresses no view about the merits of McKeeson's claim. Sotomayor also wrote that the appeals court in Louisiana should consider a different case, Counterman versus Colorado, and how the ruling in that case could impact McKeeson's case. First, let me tell you why we're talking about this at all. Because it struck me as one who delves into legal matters from time to time. It struck me as somewhat disingenuous by the Supreme Court of the United States to make this ruling based on the fact that a police officer was injured by someone that they have yet to identify as throwing a rock-like object, meaning they don't even really know what he was hit with. Because if you got hit with a rock, you would say you got hit with a rock. You said a rock-like object. And I began to wonder, why is it, if that's the ruling, and the ruling is that they are holding the organizer potentially liable, or at least allowing that suit to move forward, then why are we not applying the same standard to Donald Trump requesting, urging on, and egging on the rioters from the January storming of the Capitol? Why are we not seeing the Supreme Court using the same balance when it comes to that? Now, I want you to factor that in. Because on one hand, you're saying when it comes to Black Lives Matter, that because they organized an event and some unknown person who could have been, and I'm not saying that's the case, for all you out there that listen to what I am claiming versus what I'm not claiming. It could have been someone in that protest that was not there on behalf of Black Lives Matter, and who threw the quote unquote rock-like object, as stated in the alleged suit, for the purposes of starting some level of commotion. Now, I am not either a supporter or defender of the organization that is Black Lives Matter. That is not my purpose for speaking on the court's ruling. My purpose for speaking on the court's ruling is that we are consistently seeing an inconsistent application of laws and timing and choices by the Supreme Court, which is often politically or has the appearance of political motivations. I'll give you another prime example, and we're going to come back to this one though. A few days ago, the Supreme Court elected not to take up a cause that would have been beneficial to gerrymandering. It would have been beneficial to other areas. They say, oh, well, we're going to let the state handle that one. We don't feel like we should be pulling that one up right now. Cool. We don't want to expedite or jump the gun, if you will, when it comes to that matter. But we have seen them take up matters that are important to either the political process or the appearance of having a importance to Donald Trump. And we've seen them take and fast track those. So something that deals with voters and potential alleged voter suppression, we see they're willing to say, nah, we don't want to touch that right now. We wanted to follow its normal course. But when it comes to certain things that are associated with or affiliated with Donald Trump, then there is the appearance that they don't mind taking up some of those. And there may be a valid reason in their minds. But let's go back to this one, because this one is a little more clear cut, if you ask me, for my small opinion. One, if you believe that it is okay for at least to allow a jury to decide if there should be some level of guilt on the part of an organizer because an individual was hit with something that they are calling a rock-like object, then why would you not have the same mindset when you know that a former president urged the gathering of and a offensive measure that not only could one draw the inference that it was sending somebody to the Capitol to stop a vote that he didn't like, to attempt to allow him to allegedly remain in power, but we got him on tape. And we also have those that stormed the Capitol, or as some of them have said, visited the Capitol and decided to go in through windows and side doors. We've also got them saying that the reason why I went and did what I did was because the president told me to. But the Supreme Court has yet to take up and make a judgment that the former president should have any liability as it relates to the storming of the Capitol. Corey Parks, what's going on, brother? Glad to see you on the show tonight. And so that's the piece when I want to say this to my political affiliates, regardless to which side of the track that you are on, because obviously by now y'all know that I'm a registered independent, meaning I have no specific allegiance to either party. I can vote for whomever I so choose. But I want you guys to understand that there is something potentially amiss in the way that the Supreme Court was never designed to be a political thumb on the scale of justice. Now, we know that it's been across the board, regardless to whether it is Democrat or Republican, that they have all sought to, if at all possible, when they are on the bench, in the White House, and there is a seat available on the bench at the Supreme Court, that they place someone who is closely aligned with their perspective and political party. We know that. That is not isolated to one particular political party. It happens in both. But we are seeing behaviors that are counterproductive to the intent of the Supreme Court. And keep in mind, the Supreme Court seats are for life or until that person steps down. All right? It's not like your local stuff. These seats are for life. And I've got even a question about that. I don't think any job should be for life. And I think that when you make it, and this is only my small, humble opinion, I believe that when you make something for life, or until a person themselves chooses to step away from it, what it does, it potentially breeds a space by which they can control or they can dictate outcomes potentially. All right. So I said, I don't think it should be good life either. And again, it is irrelevant to me what side of the political spectrum someone resides on, but you have to think the thing or one of the things that hold us liable for our actions is consequences. James, keep what's going on. Glad to see you on the show. Ty said it's too easy for corruption. Absolutely. Again, the thing that finds us with balance is consequences. Like, if someone appoints you to a position where you are the controlling factor and there is no one who can remove you, there is no time limit where you're having to prove yourself. Think about this, people. Something as simple as you getting your driver's license. You have to, Nikki Carter talking about James, you late. Nikki Carter, mind your business. You ain't got nothing to do with what time that man get on the show. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. Anyway, let's stay focused. Something as simple as your driver's license. You've got to renew your driver's license every now and then. Okay? Lady Elegance said term limits for the Supreme Court. Yeah, absolutely. Congress and the Senate. Absolutely. And I do believe that's the way it should be because of situations like this. If for some reason you are potential to corrupt, and I'm not saying that they are, but I can tell you Clarence Thomas, his name got caught up in a whole bunch of stuff recently. But I digress on that. But I'm saying to you all that if you don't trust a person to have their driver's license indefinitely, you say, hey, I'm going to give you a driver's license, but every now and then, we're going to have to make sure, we're going to have to give you a little test. We're going to have to do something. We're going to make you renew it. We're going to make something happen so we can validate that you still should have the right to have. It's same thing with your license plates. I mean, everything that we do, society has a checks and balance. Let's say you got a gun permit, a concealed carry permit. I got one. Meaning I can hide a weapon up under my clothing if I so choose. I don't have to show you that I have it. But even that, they give you 5 or 6 years, and then they be like, look, you're going to have to apply for this again. We got to make sure you're still in good standing. So if your driver's license, if your concealed carry permit, if these things require you to update your license, I'm certified as a forklift instructor, as a defensive driving instructor, as a bunch of different things, right? But on everything that I'm certified on, there is an expiration date by which I got to go back and prove that I'm still worthy to do those things. I can't walk into a room and say, hey, because I'm a vice president, that means that I shouldn't have to do this. They don't care what you do on your job. They say there's a term limit, and then we got to test the authenticity of either your skill set or whatever you say. So why is it that the Supreme Court judges are picked for life And maybe it's because at the time when this was originally done, that one believed that you were picking people who were above reproach. That was already a mistake. But that was the state of America then. All right. James said, funny how there's never been a congressperson to propose a bill for term limits. They don't want to lose their perks. Absolutely. And even on that, you know what, James? You're right. Factually, you are absolutely right. But I can still even roll with that to a degree because it is the will of the people. Now, when you got gerrymandering and other redrawn districts and things like that, it can make it a little shady. But even at that particular piece, it is not without a potential check and balance, because if you've got to run for office in order to get reelected, that's at least a measure. It ain't the best one, because we see how the system can allegedly be manipulated, but at least it's one. But there is no check and balance for the Supreme Court. And when you see decisions like this that are so inconsistent, that draw potential outcomes that are negative to one group versus the other, one has to say to themselves, if Black Lives Matter has a organized event and somebody who they don't even know is with the organized event throws something that we don't even know was a rock and it hits an officer, and then they say, well, because Black Lives Matter organized the event, then we're going to say we'll leave it up to a jury to decide the outcome of that. I don't see how the same court is having complications with attaching Donald Trump to his verbal commands that was done in front of everybody to go to the Capitol, to, in his words, forced an outcome that he alleged was correct, even though everything that everybody had seen says it wasn't. But yet the Supreme Court won't make it the same type of decision against him. And I find it troubling, quite honestly. And so, again, we need to think about that. For those of us who spend time talking with our congressional leaders at the local level, I've been some might say I've been very, very fortunate. Some might say if they know what it takes when you go to Congress, you'll know it's not necessarily all that fortunate. But I've been fortunate enough to go and speak both before Congress and with congressmen and women in private sessions as well. And so when you have these opportunities, you must utilize your voice in order to talk about things that are both deal breakers, if you will, to justice, and also things that you know will impact your community and not necessarily just impacting your race. That's his reason for appointing so many judges. Absolutely. And again, I'm only bringing this up because I want you all to factor in your minds how frail our justice system is. We exist within a justice system that, now, let me be clear, it is probably by far the best potentially in the world. But it does have some flaws in it. And again, sometimes we have to look at our inability at most levels to understand the law. Okay. I was having some dialogue with someone who was talking about what they believe to be an incorrect police shooting, whereby the grand jury refused to bring an indictment on the police. And so when we went back and I was trying to educate them on how to understand what the jury is given, or the grand jury is given as a set of instructions, if you will. Because normally when either a grand jury or a jury is given a set of instructions, they are given a set of instructions by a judge. And when the judge speaks to them, he will explain, or she will explain, what the law says. And so I took this individual so they could read what the law for using deadly force was. And their thought was, because the individual was running away, that the officer had no right to shoot and kill the alleged assailant. But when we went and we looked into what the actual verbiage of the written law was, it indicated if a person was fleeing a felony, that the officer could use whatever force deemed necessary to apprehend, which goes to what's the state of mind of the officer. But only if they were being pursued or pursuing the individual for believed to have committed a felony. Meaning, if you just stole $10 worth of gas from the gas pump, that's not a felony. But if you were accused of a hit and run, if you were accused of domestic violence where you assaulted someone, anything that would naturally be considered a felony, that particular law said specifically they could use any force necessary to apprehend. Well, if it isn't anymore, glad to see you, Annie. And so we're talking about that as it relates to decision making, because the person began thinking that the officer was just doing something and violated a law. The officer technically, he may have violated a moral law by shooting the individual in the back. But the law itself, written in the books, gave him permission to use whatever force necessary to apprehend. Now, it might not make it more palatable for us to see that, but what it did do was make clear that there's a difference in why a grand jury may or may not choose to indict, because if the judge reads the law as it is on the books, the grand jury might even have felt like it was personally wrong, but they had no way to potentially find guilt enough to bind over for trial if they know that the law gave them the right to use that force, even if it was alleged to be distasteful. Okay? James said, dead ain't apprehension. I'm just saying. Yeah, one might assess that. But when they say whatever force deemed necessary to apprehend, you got to look at it. A reasonable juror is going to say, if you committed a felony and you're trying to get away, you could potentially commit another felony in the course of you trying to escape. And while I don't know personally, the legal beagle who's on tonight, she may be able to tell us, but the assumption that I have, and I could be wrong, is that Would you feel the same way if there was someone who had just raped and murdered a child and you cornered them and they took off running and they were running down the street and you said, well, because they got their back to me, I'm not going to get them. We'll catch them on another time. And then later on that night, you find out that they raped and killed a woman. Would you then feel different about the law that says you have a right to use whatever force is necessary? So it is a toss-up from a legal perspective and, quite honestly, from a moral perspective. I've seen it the other way around. When they're talking about chasing vehicles, police is on a chase. Now they have rules at the local department in most sectors that says you can pursue a individual with your vehicle unless you get to a heavily populated area. And then they are required or expected to cease the chase and potentially pick them up at another time. Now, some people might say, well, why would you let that criminal go? They could go and do harm to somebody else. Because the assumption is by you pursuing someone who is in a state of mind of fight or flight, that they may focus on chasing the getaway process and not be focusing on the normal process of looking left and looking right and paying attention for pedestrians. And because there have been cases in the past where it has not turned out well, that has been the decision. But anyway, so people, I just wanted you all to have some concept about another, what I believe to be a bad decision on the part of the Supreme Court that appeared to be either politically motivated or certainly inconsistent with some of the decisions that they've been making as it related to Donald Trump. But we got one more thing I want to talk about. Some of you may have heard about this. An 81-year-old charged with murder of an Uber driver says he mistakenly believed she was a scammer, police say. An 81-year-old Ohio man is charged with murder after he shot a female Uber driver he mistakenly, allegedly, believed was working with a scam and attempting to extort him, according to the Clark County Sheriff's Office. William Brock shot Lolitha Hall several times outside his South Charleston home on March 25th. According to a criminal complaint, Hall was taken to a local hospital where she died. Brock told police that prior to the shooting, he had received threatening phone calls from a male caller who claimed to be one of Brock's relatives was being held in jail, according to a news release from the sheriff's office. The caller then asked Brock to wire money for the relative's bond, and when Brock resisted, the caller began threatening to harm him and his family. When the 61-year-old Hall arrived in her Uber at Brock's residence, he shot her multiple times, the release states. Brock believed Hall had a connection to the scam caller and would kill him and his family, according to the 911 call he made after shooting her, authorities said. Police released a dash cam video obtained from Hall's vehicle of Brock confronting her outside his home. Hall received a request on the Uber app to pick up a package from Brock's residence. The news release states, authorities believe she was unfamiliar with the circumstance surrounding the request. Hall arrived in her Uber, and the dash cam video from her car shows her getting out the car to speak to Brock. According to the news release, she made no demands of Brock other than to ask about the package she was sent to retrieve. Brock was arrested and charged with the murder, as police saw no active threat presented by Hall during the encounter, and Brock failed to contact authorities for assistance. Brock pleaded not guilty to the charge, posted a $200,000 bond on Wednesday. CNN reached out to Hall's family and to Brock's defense attorney. The Uber has been in contact with Hall's family and law enforcement. The company said, "This is a horrific tragedy, and our hearts continue to be with Lolita's loved ones as they grieve." First of all, let me tell y'all something. James Key said, "Ain't no Lolita gonna harm you." Lady Elegant said, "Bullcrap. I saw the video and she was not a threat to him." First of all, let me say something to y'all. This is either, and I want my Anglo-Saxon compadres to listen to what I have to say before you get your pitchforks out. This is either a dumb scam gone awry, or this is another case of an old racist white man who shot a black person, thought on his feet, came up with a story, and now he paid $20,000, which some bail bond agency posted up for him, or probably, potentially, allegedly, I don't know for sure, some organization that is associated with something negative probably posted a little $20,000 bail. I don't understand how you can shoot and kill somebody and get bail. Let's start with that. Look at Anthony Shepard. What's going on, girl? Glad to see ya. I mean, come on now, people. Let's keep it 1,000 with each other. I do not understand for the life of me how it is that some people can shoot and kill somebody and get bail. All right? Let's ask the question. Let's be honest about it. It is not likely. I say they don't like to prosecute all white men. I don't know that that's the case, but I can definitely tell you, I don't know that if a black man shot a white Uber driving woman, and when they looked at the dash cam, there was no negative energy from the white woman. We done seen some alleged Karens roll up and be talking reckless to folks that they do not know, aggressive all up in their face, and they don't catch no charge in some cases. But in this case, they got a dash cam video from Lolita's Uber car. They got proof that she received a notification to go there and pick up a package. Now, I am curious, as a matter of principle, who sent her the request to pick up a package from that address? Was it the right address? Because it does seem like there is a piece of something missing from this. Okay? Because the first thing that they should be tracking is, where did the request come from? Right now, we do all empathize with the family of Lolita. But I am, and I'm not, listen, I don't want y'all to, James said, I think she was set up for that situation. Very well could be. Jay Dizzle said that's the $100,000 question. And I mean, listen, people, I'm a practical person. Ty said she want to know who sent the request. Because, and let me tell you something, they gonna find out. Because technology will track you back to your IP address or your cell phone. Trust me, it will. And so somebody sent her the request. And either she was either in on it, or set up, or went to the wrong address. We don't know which one of those things it is. But, and we're not speaking ill of the dead. James said could have been those that were trying to scam him. Very well could have been. And we're not defending the shooter. Johnny said, I think she was an innocent party to a scam she didn't know anything about. Could have been. Now, let me tell you something else I want to know. I want to know, why did they pick this old dude to target him in the first place? Think about it. If you're trying to scam someone, you have to have some inclination that there is something to be gained. And if there is something to be gained, how did the scammers find out about it? Again, it is a sensitive thing. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this, because, and let's go back to something now, because I want to make something clear. He said Brock told police that prior to the shooting, he'd received threatening calls from a male caller who claimed to be one of Brock's relatives, was being held in jail. Okay, let's take that little piece, people. How did the person know Brock? And what were they trying to scam this guy out of? All right. He said he received threatening phone calls from a male caller who claimed to be one of Brock's relatives, was being held in jail. The caller asked Brock to wire money for the relative's bond, and Brock resisted. The caller began threatening to harm him and his family. Tell me this, people. Why would a person in jail pick Brock to go after? Older people are most susceptible to scam artists, especially of money matters. Yvonne Rouse, what's going on, girl? Glad to see ya. But Jay Dizzle, you're right. But this isn't a normal, this doesn't appear to be a normal set of scammery, if you want. Because most of the time when you're trying to scam somebody, you're trying to get them to buy something. You're trying to get them to pay off something when there's nothing to pay off. Who calls a random person up and says, I want you to send money for my bail? The person, these two individuals, and this is only in my mind, I have no facts. These individuals have to be connected in something outside of that Uber car, because there's absolutely no way that it makes logical sense that I pick up a phone and I call somebody randomly and I'm trying to scam you by telling you to pay some bail for me to get out of jail. What's the scam? And we're only going off what Brock said. Brock said that the alleged scammer wanted him to wire money for bond. That's not a scam. Okay? Let's keep it a stack, people. Jay Dizzle said, I agree. There is a connection. We haven't been given all the facts. Absolutely. I want y'all to think about this. In order for that, if it's a scam, it's I'm trying to swindle you by telling you that something is what it isn't, and you can make money, or you owe this, and this is a way to pay it off without having to pay the full amount. It's something to the scam part of it. This right here, it's not a scam if somebody calls you and say, I want you to wire some money so that my bail can be paid so I can get out of jail. And if not, I'm going to do something to you. Now, I've watched enough movies to potentially extrapolate that most of the time it would lead to Brock and whoever is in jail had some dealings with each other prior to that person going to jail. And whatever their dealings was, this person at least believed that based on the dealings or something gone bad, and I don't have any facts to that, but it makes sense that they had some dealings before, and this person felt like Brock owed him. Anyone said the caller had to know the old man. Absolutely. This wasn't a timeshare scam. This wasn't somebody calling somebody they didn't know. This was somebody calling a person and saying, I want you to put, you better send that bail money. That's no scam. That's a threat. But it's not a scam. You can't scam a person by saying, wire some money to the bail's bondman so they can get me out of this jail. At least on TV, it generally means you had a relationship, probably, allegedly, could have been something nefarious in y'all relationship that y'all had going on, and you felt like the individual owed you enough that you could call him from jail on a recorded call. Make sure y'all understand this. We don't have the facts right now, but I can promise you, if the call did come from jail, it's a recording of it. Because anytime you call from jail, and I've not been in jail to call somebody from there, but I've watched enough shows on TV where they tell you this call can be recorded. Matter of fact, I might have received a call from somebody in jail before, and I think I heard a recording on that one notifying me that the call was being recorded. So if this call came from jail, it's been recorded. So somebody's going to be able to tell from that conversation if there was something to it. Now, Lolita, she absolutely positively could have been an innocent victim in this. They could have sent her there saying, hey, somebody's going to give a package. I need you to go pick the package up, and I need you to take it to this address. And that would be consistent. James said all calls in and out of prison is recorded. James said that like he had some firsthand knowledge. But anyway, if Lolita is an honest Uber driver, which the organization says she does work for them, if she went up there and she wasn't asking for anything in specific, she was saying, hey, I was told I need to pick up a package, it is very, very possible that one of her relatives used her because they knew her to be a forthright person, that she wouldn't open the package, that she was the type to just do her job, get her check, and go drop it off. Or she could be in on the scam, on the play, on the mark, if you will. But I don't believe the old white guy. I do not believe that he didn't know who the person was. I do not believe that, I have no evidence in front of me right now that would indicate that Lolita knew she was a part of the play, not scam, the play. But I will say it is possible that Brock believed that the person coming there was going to do something to him. And again, I'm not defending the guy. I am definitely not defending Brock. But I have to say, if there is a phone call, and if that phone call had somebody up there saying, I'm sending somebody to the house to get that bread, and you better give it to them, or they're going to do something to you, clearly, I believe that a jury might find Brock innocent if he has to go to court. Now, by the same token, the jury might see through the process and ask Brock the same question that we're asking right now. What was your relationship with this criminal that led him to believe that you and he had the type of relationship that he could call you? Because most people call their loved ones. Am I right about it? Most of you all who may have spent a few hours on a level of incarceration you are probably going to call your friends and family, somebody that you believe you have a relationship with that will respond. Because I don't know, we could ask James. James seemed to have some friends or have had some friends that was incarcerated. So he can tell us, James, how many calls do you get from prison or jail? Because the man was apparently in jail right now waiting on some money to be able to get out. So I don't know how many calls you get from jail. Because once again, I've been blessed to not have that personal experience. Because say he will not be found innocent. He will be charged with involuntary manslaughter. Okay. Now we are talking about Ohio, Cassandra. And so are you saying, hold on. Cassandra said once they determine the source of the scam. So Cassandra, let me ask you a question. Are you saying to us tonight that even if there is a call with threats to him, even if he believed that the person coming to the door who identified themselves as being Lolita, whoever, I'm just asking, are you implying that there is no jury, not even one, who would decide that he had a right to fear for his safety? Because if the call had just come that somebody was coming to pick up some money and you better give it to him, are you implying that you don't believe there is at least one person of any mindset that could wind up on a jury that would say, hey, I believe this dude right here had a right to fear for himself? What if, Cassandra, and I know we got to go because it's after 9, but Cassandra, do you think that there's a possibility if they listen to a call from jail and the call is of someone being aggressive and somebody telling the person that somebody's going to come, and if you don't give them that bread, they're going to kill you and your family? Do you believe that there's a jury somewhere or a juror, because it only takes one, who will say that if I just got a call from somebody saying that if I don't give up this money, they're going to kill me and my family, and a car pulls up saying, give me the package, do you believe that there is at least one juror who would say, if that happened to me, I'd have gave him the business? Anyway, look, I got to go. It's after 9. I got work to do. Keep it on your mind. Watch them relatives that will send you out on a mission, on a dummy mission.
It's on. Come on.